all the students and learners. I am Yash and I am pursuing BSc from MCBU Maharaj Chhatrasad Bundelkhand University Chhatarpur MP. So friends, we will gonna continue our journey of BSc first year physics. So let's start. As you can see, today we will gonna learn moment of inertia of a uniform hollow sphere. So how can we determine the moment of inertia of a uniform hollow sphere? So I will explain you. Here as you can see that first we will calculate the moment of inertia about its diameter. So as you all know, what is moment of inertia? It is the product of mass of the body or mass of the particle and its product with the perpendicular distance of the axis of rotation. Means you can write it like m into r, and we denote the moment of inertia by I. So you can see write I equal to mr square, means square of the perpendicular distance of a particle from the axis of rotation with mass of the particle. So it gives the result of moment of inertia. So now let's start the topic. Consider thin spherical shell of mass m and radius r. So today we will consider a spherical shell or a simple hollow sphere. We will consider whose mass, we can assume that its mass is capital M and radius is capital R. So we are to find its moment of inertia about its diametrical axis. So as we know that we have to find the moment of inertia about its diameter. So we will take the diameter as an axis of rotation. So here we have considered a diagram, you can see, and I will explain you this diagram in the language. So diametrical axis AB. So we consider the diametrical axis AB passing through the center O, which is passing through the center of the sphere. So as we all know, the surface area of a sphere or surface area of the spherical shell is equal to 4 pi r square. Here r is the radius of the sphere. So we know that mass per unit area of the cell will be m upon 4 pi r square. So it will be the mass per unit area of the cell, because here m denote the mass, or 4 pi r square it is represent the surface area as we has written. So now consider ring EFGH at a distance x from the center O. So here we have already considered a sphere, the diameter AB, and here O is the center. So we have considered this ring EFGH. It is a very thin ring. I have made it broad to explain you that you can easily understand it. So EFGH is a very thin ring. Means assume that it is a sphere, and if you cut it like EF and GH, if you cut on these lines, so you will get a ring. And if it is thin, then EF and GH, EG and FH, the thickness of the ring will be very less if it is thin. So we have considered that the distance from the center, means the distance of the ring from the center of the sphere is small x, as it is written. So lying between the two parallel planes EF and GH, normal to the axis AB. So as we know that EF and GH are two perpendiculars, means if you consider it as a plane, then line EF and line GF both are perpendicular to this diameter AB. So the ends G and E of these planes normal to the axis AB. As I have said, the end G and E of these planes subtend angle theta and theta plus d theta respectively with the axis AB at the center O. Now you will see that this line EF and this line GH here make substance an angle on the center. If you will see the line GH, it will subtend the angle theta, whereas the angle, this line EF subtend angle on center O is theta plus d theta. If you means add these both angle, then it will be theta plus d theta. Means if you consider that this d theta is angle of this line OG and OE, means d theta is the angle between the line OE and OG, whereas total angle, if you consider that BOE. If you want to find the angle BOE, then it will be theta plus d theta, the addition of the two angle, as it is written. So since the ring is quite thin, as I have told you that ring is very thin, so the radius of ring equal to r sine theta. Now how it is come, I will explain you. As we all know that it is a diameter AB, so its half means the distance of the surface of a sphere from the center is called its radius. We can write r, as we have considered the r as radius. So the radius of a sphere is small r, and we have to find the radius of the ring. Means we can say that this half of the EF, or half of, as it is very thin, so EF and GH will be equal for us because it is very thin ring. So half of this ring means the distance of the this point from the center of this ring will be its radius. So we have to find this. Wait a second. So let's consider this point as T. So now this has become a triangle ETO. You can see this triangle is ETO, and as this line is perpendicular on our diameter, means the angle is 90 degree. So we can find the angle sine theta, as EF and GH both are equal. If it is a thin ring, then EF and GH will be equal. So we can take this same triangle this way. So we will consider this point now T. Forget it. Assume this point as a T and this triangle, as the angle is theta here, and it is also a right angle triangle, means GTO. It is the triangle. Now we will talk on it. So we have to find the sine theta, right? And we know that the sine theta is equal to ratio of perpendicular of the triangle and the hypotenuse of a triangle. And here in the triangle, if we see that the perpendicular will be TG, in this the perpendicular will be TG, and here hypotenuse will be OG, and this is the sine theta. And if you see carefully, that this OG is the radius of this sphere, the distance of the center from the surface, that is the radius. So you can write TG upon R, sine theta equal to TG upon R. Then TG equal to R sine theta. We can write it like this. And TG, now if you see that TG is the radius of the ring, the distance of the center from the from one end of the ring, it is the radius. So TG equal to R sine theta, and as it is written, the radius of ring will be R sine theta. It has come like this. And width of the ring, now we have to find the width of the ring, means its thickness. This part EG, we have to find the EG. So we have learnt, or we have studied a formula in our 11th or 12th, or we have learned it in our 10th class, which is angle equal to arc upon radius, or we can write it arc equal to angle into radius. As we can see that it is a small part of sphere or circle. Here in the diagram it is a circle, like circle we can see it. So EG will be a arc for here, and angle is d theta, and the radius is r. Then you can write it like r d theta, where r is the radius and d theta is the angle. So arc equal to angle into radius, and we find the easy r d theta, and here the width of ring has find. Width of the ring is equal to r d theta. Now area of ring EFGH equal to circumference into width. We know that the area of ring, you consider the a circular ring, then its area will be equal to the circumference. What will be that? What will be its circumference? That means the product of the circumference and width gives us the area of the ring. So we have already know the formula of the circumference of a circular ring. It's 2 pi r, where r is the radius, and the radius of the circular ring we have recently find that r sin theta is the radius, then 2 pi r sin theta, and the product, its product with r d theta, which is the width. So 2 pi r square sin theta d theta, it is the area of the ring EFGH. So now we know that mass of ring is equal to here mass is m upon 4 by r square, which is the surface area, and the area of the ring we have already calculated. These will cancel, means the mass of the total ring. If you want to calculate the mass of the ring, then we will have to multiply the mass per unit area or mass per unit of surface area of the sphere and its product with area of the circular ring. Then we can find the mass of the ring, and we have already calculated mass per unit area of the surface or mass per unit surface area of the sphere is m upon 4 pi r square, and the area of the ring is 2 pi r square sin theta d theta, as we have calculated in the previous page. So the pi r square will cancel here, and 2 will cancel the 4 by 2 is 2 to the 4. So m by 2 sin theta d theta, it is left. So the moment of inertia of the ring about an axis AB passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane. Now we have to calculate the moment of inertia about the diameter, and diameter is AB, and we have considered it as an axis because we have to calculate the moment of inertia here. So the moment of inertia of the ring about an axis AB passing through its center, as the AB is the diameter, so it is passing through the center, and it's perpendicular to the plane. And if you see in the diagram, that in the diagram the diameter is perpendicular on the ring, means if you consider the ring as a plane, first you have to, if you want to understand the concept, first you have to assume the thing. What I want to say, you have to consider, you have to imagine in your mind, an image you have to make in your brain. Like consider the ring as a plane, and now you will see that the diameter passing through that plane is perpendicular to this plane. Means if you consider this plane, this circle as a plane, that the diameter is perpendicular on its plane, and that is it is written. So which is equal to the, means now we have to calculate the moment of inertia. So mass of ring into radius square, we have to product, means we know the formula of moment of inertia, which is the product of the mass of the ring and the radius square of the radius of the ring. And here we have calculated the mass of ring already, m by 2 sin theta d theta, and radius also have been calculated in the previous page, which is r sin theta. So m by 2 r sin theta d theta into r sin theta square. So we can write it like this: sin theta will be product multiplied to each other, then it will become sin cube theta d theta. So the total moment of inertia of the spherical shell about the axis AOB. So total moment of inertia of the spherical shell. Now we have to calculate the total moment of inertia of the spherical shell about the axis AOB. So it will be pi equal to 0 to pi, sorry, I equal to 0 to pi 1 by 2. It is calculated the moment of inertia of a ring about an axis AB passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane. Now we have to calculate the total moment of inertia. So we will use the limits 0 to pi. As you can see that a diameter means if you see the diameter AOB, there are 3 points A, O and B. So it creates an angle of 180 degree. So we will put the limit from 0 to 180 degree, 0 to pi. So here 1 by 2 and mr square, these are the constant terms, so we can put it out from this integration. So 2 into 1 by 2 will be cancelled. Here we have used the formula of definite integral, I think so. You have already I think so you have already studied it. Like if you put or multiply 2 with a particular integration, then the limit, upper limit will be divided by 2 and the whole term will be multiplied by 2. So here 2 into 1 by 2, it will cancel each other, and mr square has here m is the mass which is constant, and radius will also be constant. Both the terms will not be changed. You can find it by the diagram that the mass and radius both are not changing. These are the constant quantities. And sine cube theta d theta. So now we will integrate it and put it into the limit. So sine cube theta d theta. So we will find that 2 by 3. After the integration, we will find the 2 by 3 sine cube theta. You can do the integration by yourself, I think so. 2 by 3 mr square, it is the equation first, we can write it. So it is the total moment of inertia of the spherical cell about the diametrical axis AOB. Now we will find the about its tangent. A tangent at any point on the spherical cell is parallel to its diameter. Therefore, by the theorem of parallel axis, at any point of the spherical cell, if you can imagine a point on the spherical cell, so you can see that it is always parallel to the diameter, because diameter is just the line passing through the center, and no matter from which particular point on the surface of the sphere to which point of the to which another point, means there is a infinite diameter, you can say, in any sphere, like this or this. There are many diameters. The only condition is the line should be straight, pass through the center of the sphere. That's the only condition. And if you consider the point, any point on its surface, and here it is the tangent, then it will always parallel to the one diameter of the circle. I hope you understand. A tangent at any point of this is parallel to its diameter. So therefore, by the theorem of parallel axis, we have recently studied the theorem of parallel axis, in which moment of inertia about tangent is equal to the moment of inertia about diameter plus moment of inertia. So moment of inertia mr square, where m is the mass of the sphere and r is radius of the whole sphere, and I about diameter we have already calculated it, 2 by 3 mr square. So the addition of these two terms gives us the I about tangent. You can write it like IT or ID, means about diameter. I have written here I about tangent and I about diameter. In short, you can write IT and ID. So we already know that two quantities, 2 by 3 mr square plus mr square. After adding, the I about tangent will be calculated equal to 5 by 3 mr square. It is the required derivation. I think you have understood, and if you have doubt, you can ask in the comment box. So thanks for watching this video. That's all for today. So thank you, friends.